Hello everyone, this is Rip, otherwise known as Zamix. Everyone's here, that being Balin Mason.
Hello.
Hello.
Alright, so this is our first broadcast. I guess it's a broadcast that no one's listening to.
Technically, yes.
So we're going to be podcasting for now, really just about games. We might add movies, might add anime, but I think we all watch that here.
Yeah.
But this one's about video games. So we have a list of things that we're going to talk about for this one. But for future reference, you're always welcome to give suggestions for what for what you want in the next podcast down in the comments. But if you want to live have an input on what we're talking about, this conversation is currently happening on Discord. Now, if you support the channel for even the $1 a month tier, you can actually enter the Discord chat and listen into us and chat with us through text. You won't be able to talk, but you can listen to us and then text, so long as you are a patron.
$1 a month?
$1 a month. Honestly, I've only ever I had one patron doing that for like a couple months, and then he stopped.
Then he realized, like, wow.
I might give like more to people once enough people I have a $1 a month tier and a $5 a month tier. And if people can't afford, maybe it's like too low, maybe it's just so low no one wants it, like it's kind of like it seems too cheap. Maybe that's what it is.
It's like if you're paying for a service that's too cheap, you're a little skeptical on whether or not to even do it.
Exactly. Maybe I should just cut out
$100 a month.
Yeah,
if you guys don't start supporting for just $1 a month,
that must mean they want to support you for more.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it to $5. Just warning.
Oh, man.
And then if you'll regret your decision. You should have joined earlier. Okay. So that's how that's gonna work. And if you have any questions, comment or whatever the heck you guys do. All right, so you guys both saw the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was about thermal. Have you guys seen? You guys have seen, I assume, gameplay of it.
Only a little bit.
Like, only a little, but you get that like, it's not constantly. Like the video I had up of it was nearly 100% thermal activated. Like the game isn't blue and yellow.
Yeah. What is this, Predator? What?
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like it.
Right? So that was my issue with the game, was that it, like, when you're playing without that, it's really dense. Like, some of the maps are really dense, like jungle, and even just if it's less dense, like, it totally reminded me of Airsoft, where, like, you'll find people hiding in bushes and things. And, there's ways to counter that besides thermal. Like, there's the Recon Tower, which you can activate, and that shows everyone on the map for like 10, 20 seconds or something. But to activate the Recon Tower, you have to wait, I think it's like 2 minutes or something like that into the game. The Recon Tower becomes available. And then you can, it's not like you just go up to it and press a button. You have to hold down for like 30 seconds. No, not 30 seconds, but maybe 5 or 10 seconds. You have to be there activating it, and it lets everyone know in the game that someone's activating the Recon Tower, which means people can counter the Recon Tower by like sniping whoever's currently on the Recon Tower, but that'll give away your position. So it's this counterbalance thing that incorporates cover and concealment that other games don't have. But my issue with thermal, and granted, if you didn't get it, Bailey didn't, I had to explain to Bailey earlier, if you didn't get it at the beginning of the video, they have updated the game since that recording. They have made it so only drones, which only like 4 out of 12 out of 12 classes have access to a drone. Drone's very limited. You have it for like 30 seconds or so. And only there can you have thermal, which is honestly the update I was hoping for. But this brought about an interesting discussion about, so the issue of thermal is fixed. The discussion here is that kind of gameplay. Like, what are we looking for here? what games do we want that like have that the concealment.
That's like a kind of a hunt or
right,
be hunted feeling.
Exactly. That's what I was going for. What do you guys think?
I mean, looking on the video that you have right now for Split Community, the Ghost War thermals that divided us.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't, like you said, it's been patched, and I mean, personally, it also like a very specific spec of the game is allowing third person,
right,
as well as first person. I mean, of course, there's like preferences, and then certain games just have both. But I'm wondering what your guys' opinion is on like third person for a game that's very like a tactical shooter that's supposed to not be like I have a better opportunity to know where people are by third person, like peeking over walls, around corners. Like there's a lot more that goes into the game when there's third person.
Well, on top of that, I was like the thermal with the third person. I think, well, like realistically, thermal goggles are really narrow vision, and so having the thermal in third person seemed like an issue as well. And I was talking to my roommate, and he was saying that thermal should only be in the when you're actually looking down the scope, and like
that was another suggestion people had. Right. That people are actually suggesting it either be like one or the other, like just when you're looking down the scope, or only in third, like looking around you can have thermal, but when you try and look down a scope, it goes away. As if you have nods on, and you have to flip those nods up whenever you want to put a scope up to your eye. Was, I assume, the reasoning behind that. So I do. I hear what you're saying about the third person. I personally don't mind it. I think it's kind of cool. First off, it makes you feel cool. You get to see your character that you spent forever tricking out. It looks neat, and it helps also. Another reason I like it, when you're in real life. So I'm comparing this to real life. In real life, you know where you are.
Yeah.
You know how much of your body you're showing. These are all things that really are hard to do in a first person. That like there'll be some minimal leaning options.
Yeah.
But what I like about the third person is, yes, you can technically see over cover now, but you now know when you are in cover. And in real life, you could peek around things with just your eyes showing, like a bit of your face. You know, you can hide yourself pretty well while seeing around. And I think that's kind of what it's similar to. Like, you are able to peek. If I had to like reason it, it's this idea of you're able to peek over it, you're able to see, but it's really hard to see you. In this case, it's admittedly sometimes impossible. You're straight up behind cover, and they're not. But the game, and I was explaining this to Bailey earlier, the game does have methods of countering this. Have you guys seen the suppression effect in game?
I haven't.
Like how you have not?
No.
So it's staggering, to say the least. It's super blurry. Like if you know what a Gaussian blur is, it applies a Gaussian blur to everything that's like not 5 feet in front of you. And it lasts a little bit. It's like 5 seconds or so after you're shot at. Not only does it do that, but it also makes your gun shake. Now, it doesn't use a lot of people have an issue with the suppression in Battlefield because it introduces accuracy problems where if your sight will be on the person, but your accuracy is artificially decreased so that even if your sight's on your enemy, it'll you could be 100% skilled player, can't do anything about it. There's accuracy is put down and they just it's turned down. What this game does is it actually shakes your gun and scope.
Yeah. So
a good player with fast enough reflexes can counter and work with the suppression if they want. But it's hard.
Time the shot when it lines up.
Right, exactly. And you can see through the blur, but it's hard. The game also uses this as part of its gameplay in a number of ways. So first off, you can suppress people. That means you can have that, like, even though someone is behind cover, they have that advantage because they have cover. You can actually put them at a disadvantage by having one person laying down fire and another person running at them while their screen's blurred. Because even when your screen's blurred, yes, you can still see the person, but they're blurred, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because the screen is blurred, your attention to detail is decreased. And I find that generally, even though you can still spot that person who was shooting at you previously, it's hard to spot other people. So you can have another person moving up and still have that person shooting. You can pull that off. It also incorporates it just like into the classes. There's 2 classes that kind of really take advantage of it. One class called the Point Man doesn't get the suppression effect. He doesn't get any other perks really besides like a 20% bonus in health. So he's the front man.
Okay.
But he doesn't get a drone. He doesn't get any other neat abilities, and he gets a standard assault rifle. It's a pretty good character, but so that one has a loss. It doesn't get that same suppression effect. That said, there is a counter that forces suppression onto the other classes, even an even more harder way. There's the Diversionist class, or no, not the Diversionist, the Enforcer class. It gets a big LMG with like a 200 round mag, or a 100 round mag, one of those, and it has its suppression effect is even worse than the other classes. It straight up doesn't allow you to aim down the sights when you're under suppression.
Oh man.
And it's super blurry, so you're just like, you can't do anything besides run or just hope for the best. You can get like more behind cover and wait for the suppression effect to go away. But it definitely, I like running that class because you can, like, even if it's just a one-on-one gunfight and you're both in the open, you can like effectively shut down a person with this class using suppression. So it realizes what I'm saying here is it realizes the, like, that third person and like the disadvantages of having third person, but I think it works around it. I still think it makes it a good tactical shooter, unlike other games where it's really just an advantage.
Yeah.
And there's no disadvantage. Like a person going first person is screwed. I think that it works with it.
Definitely, it was just that the infrared was really overkill. Yeah. Like I had no idea that was a thing until recently. But like you said, it was updated.
Right. Okay.
What else we had something related to the thermal discussion that we wanted to talk about. Kind of just like the broad idea of what were we talking about? The like, realism aspect, right?
Of like that closeness to airsoft, where like concealment is good. Like there was that one person who was saying,
just in general, because this Wildlands is really trying to go for realism,
right,
as much as it can, right? Or not as much as it can, but like decently.
It has
compared to like most arcade games.
Yeah, I mean, Escape from Tarkov, as we were saying, is probably closest to real. Granted, you can't edit your camouflage and outfit quite as much as you can in Ghost Recon Wildlands, but definitely it incorporates a lot of, you got ambidextrous shooting. It's more or less a Milsim game that isn't Arma and is for console.
I mean, like, how much have you been getting out of the, what was the game mode called again for the multiplayer?
So it only has one game mode right now. That game mode is basically team deathmatch. You get like only so much. Well, it's you have, I want to say 6 minutes, I think. And during that time, you are trying to eliminate the entire enemy team. And if you don't, it ends up as a draw. Same for them. And it ends up being... the thing is, when you're eliminated, you're out. you can be revived, and your revive timer doesn't decrease. Like, you can be revived throughout the game. So it does. It has. You can get a bit of that like pull and tug, where you'll like it'll be 1 versus 4, but then that person manages to take out a couple of their guys and then picks up 1 or 2 of theirs, and suddenly the whole game swings in their favor.
Okay, cool. So there's no like finishing off fatality move like they have in Rainbow Six Siege.
No, there isn't that. No, it's a little more dynamic, which I like.
Yeah, that allows more opportunity in that aspect for to keep the game going or
and it also
objectives.
And that's why the recon tower really comes into play, and thermals for the drones, or just the drones in general, because since you do have to eliminate the entire enemy team, it means you have to find the entire enemy team. And granted, this game looks realistic. People can hide out in the forest, and they can hide in the forest really well. So that's why there is the recon tower, which you can activate, and then it shows exactly where they are and marks them. And if you have people who are quick enough, you can kill them before that mark even goes away. Especially if you have like a sniper with a good overwatch, you can just immediately eliminate the person if that person's already in view. And then thermals, obviously, thermals on a drone. That was its original purpose, I think. Thermals was to counter snipers just hiding the entire game, which I have seen happen twice, maybe.
Just hiding out in a bush somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And if they're good enough, they can manage to survive pretty well.
I mean, that's what snipers are supposed to do, just hide out in bushes, man.
And the thing is, I like that. Like, I want snipers to be able to have that good Overwatch position where they're hidden and you get that really satisfying feeling. It does have also, if you've seen gameplay, the moment you shoot, it shows exactly where you are. Like a little yellow marker appears where shots come from. 3-dimensionally, not just like hit like it's not like a game where you're hit. Yeah, no, it's not like that. Like if you move, the yellow marker moves it as well. There's also like some cool effects with that because the marksman classes, which includes the sniper, when they shoot, the yellow marker is not exactly on your body. It actually moves around and is always like fairly inaccurate. Yeah. So people get a general idea of where you are, but they won't know exactly, which means a sniper can take a shot, not have to worry so much about a sniper instantly turning towards that yellow marker and blasting you. And you get to, and then you obviously, I mean, they still know generally where you are, so you'll take a shot, move. It's just like airsoft. You take a shot, you move, and then take another shot, and you just keep rinsing and repeating. A good sniper can hold up doing that. Though a good sniper helps the team. Yeah. So we're already at like 20 minutes in.
What the hell no. And we still talking about the frickin' thermals? I mean, if they update it already, it doesn't really matter.
So, let's move on.
I mean, technically what I wanted to get into was the whole idea of if we're, looking for a realistic game. In the sense that
we need more.
I don't know, let's just. Yeah, I mean, like Arma 3 does pretty well when I'm talking about like some sort of like a simulation that. Nothing really that has like, I guess, yellow signs or like certain icons over the enemy, because I don't really feel like there's much purpose. I mean, there is purpose. It works in the game, but that's the game style.
You haven't played it yet. You don't know.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense that you're like, you really know like where they are in that sense that they have like an icon like above their head.
Yeah, it works. The reason why I find it works is because generally in real life, at least in airsoft, when someone shoots, I have a pretty good idea of where that shot comes from.
Yeah.
In a game, not so much. It's more or less, was it on my right or was it on my left?
Yeah.
So actually, I do think it helps because it does. I think it is a little more realistic actually because it doesn't. It's not like a yellow marker. It's not above their head or anything. It's a directional thing. Like it'll be right where they are. This yellow dot. It's a soft yellow dot. It's not like a hard dot. So you'll know where the shots are coming from, but it doesn't necessarily mean you always see exactly where the player is.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to look over and then scan the foliage to spot the person, assuming they're not out in the open. Yeah, it's a little better than that. I would highly recommend playing it if you've got your PS4. Or get it on PC. Okay. But yeah, I'd like more realistic games. Escape from Tarkov looks sick. It's not listed here, but it looks sick. Have you seen Escape from Tarkov, Mason? I told you about it, right?
I was just recently watching some gameplay from Escape
There we go.
from Tarkov, and that game has some of those mechanics that I think we're just talking about, like the suppression seemed to be pretty smooth.
Yeah. The game looks sweet. Have you been watching Operator Drewski? That's who I've been watching.
I'm subscribed to Operator Drewski, but I'm not sure about his videos on it.
Free plug for Operator Drewski. He's got great tactical videos. I've run out of water. Cool. So, let's move on. Battlefront 2's coming out pretty soon here. You guys excited? Skeptical?
Well, I played the beta for that game, and I was actually really impressed with it. It was actually a lot of fun. I played it with Lucas.
Okay.
And it was. I'm trying to compare it to the first one.
Right.
It got me more excited than the first one. And well, they've boasted that they're gonna have a bunch of maps and stuff. And really,
How many
feel
maps
like
were available?
I think they're saying 3 times more maps than the first one.
Okay.
I don't have the exact numbers, but
that would be at minimum. That would mean 12 maps, not including. They had like, I want to say 4 maps, but then they had like smaller versions of some of the maps for like the smaller game modes. Do you remember? So that could be 12, which isn't bad. Still nowhere close to Battlefront 2's 100.
That's exactly what I was gonna say next. I was like, they've boasted for a lot of maps, but it's nothing close to what the original game had, which was just an insane amount of content.
Yeah.
Especially for like games nowadays. Nowadays games have no content in comparison.
There's so many maps, a ton of game modes.
Yeah.
The class variety wasn't crazy, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
Honestly, when they went into Battlefront 2, I was hoping I would have been fine with them, like just kind of taking, even if it's the same maps, but making more maps. That would have been nice. Like, yes, I love the fancy graphics. Good job on those guys. But they've like dug themselves a corner by doing this, because now they have these fancy graphics and people will be mad if the graphics aren't. I guess I would be mad, but people might be mad. Like, oh, the graphics aren't so good. But like, if they turn down the graphics to make the workflow go a little faster, just so they can pump out more maps, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I remember going back to the original Battlefront 2 a little while ago, and
same.
I just to see what happened. Like, you know how setting up a game, you like choose what you want, like the map and the game type and whatnot. And so there's an option that I didn't see before that just let you do all of them. And so I just did that, and the list went on and on. I was like, oh my god, we're never gonna finish this.
Right? Exactly.
It was freaking crazy.
Like, the sheer playability of that. And granted, some of the maps, they're older designs, like, they could use a bit of smarter level design sometimes. Like, in terms... I'll grant them this. Today's games, people are really nitpicky about balance. Those maps were not balanced.
Oh, no.
those were maps that just were for the sheer fun of it.
Yeah.
Today's Battlefront games are much more balanced, it seems. They're not competitive per se, but they're balanced, you know. There's no team that's like being crushed. And I could definitely see that in the previous games. But I didn't mind. Like, it was fun. It felt like Star Wars rather than another shooter. And they've been doing a good job of that. It still feels like Battlefront in the way it plays. What did you think of the star cards? Because that's where it goes off.
Well, I've played. I played the beta for Battlefront 2, and I played a little bit of the first one, and I never really got used to using the cards. I always thought they were like they'd be used up if you use them. So I never wanted to use them because I was like, I don't know, is this the right time to use it? I don't want to waste it.
Right. Yeah. I got that feeling a lot in, like, if you remember in Titanfall 1, they had cards. And for a good while, I was just like, I never used them. And eventually I learned that you get them so fast, I just use them every single game. Yeah. Like 3 of them every single game, and usually I'd unlock them fast enough to keep up with it. Like, you have to take a while. It takes a while for you to get, like, used to, okay, what's the inflow for me to get my outflow. So you didn't use them.
Yeah, I didn't use them in the first one. I started to use them a little bit in the beta, but I mean, I only played it for like 2 days. There were some very overpowered things. Yeah. My favorite class was I forget what it was called, but it was basically the sniper class, and had a pretty good sniper, and then there were, for like close encounter situations, the sniper had this SMG that was so good, it was ridiculous. So basically, you switch to the SMG, and it has this like this timer on it, and if you don't kill anyone within the time, then it goes away, and then it cools down. Right. However, if you do kill someone, then it just restarts. And so you like I would come across like a group of 3 people, say, and I'm like, I'm gonna switch to my SMG, and I just mow them all down, and then it's like, then I'm just running around with this SMG all of a sudden. I'm a sniper with an SMG suddenly, and then I'm just destroying people, and it was great, but it was so overpowered.
Was this a star card?
I think that was actually just default.
Just built in. Okay. Well, at least it's not a star card overpowered.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that the developers have changed it? That for the next, I don't know if they're doing another beta, but at least for the full game, they've changed it. Star cards are no longer going to be like. First off, in order to get star cards of certain power, like for them to have certain bonuses, you have to already have leveled to a certain amount. So it's no longer.
Oh, so it's about progression.
Yeah, so you have to progress. You can't just buy your way to the being the best character.
So not quite pay to play then.
No, and they've also incorporated more. When you play a class, you get things for it. You're not completely reliant on star cards to progress a class. Whereas it used to be that way. It used to be if you wanted to progress a class, you had to get loot boxes for it, which is the first time that's been done. Where that was part of the controversy was to progress, you needed loot boxes.
That's a little weird.
To win. right?
Wait,
Relying
So
on
you
a
couldn't-
saying that
lottery.
that's what they were going to do?
Yeah, that's what they were gonna do.
Relying on a lottery to progress.
Lottery. Yep.
Wait,
Imagine.
so why do we have loot boxes though?
So imagine Call of Duty. Okay. Except
Yeah.
for every single item in Call of Duty, you don't get kills to unlock. You have to get it in a loot box.
But why?
Because money.
Yeah.
No, what do you mean
And
by
then you
money?
can buy loot boxes.
Yeah.
Are you talking about my money?
Your money.
Yes, your money.
Your real
Well,
dollars.
But what
Everyone.
if I worked really hard for $60 to already buy the game? I
Yeah,
thought
then
I'd put it
fuck
up
you.
front.
It's not enough.
And I bought the season pass, which was another 60.
It's not enough. You can either grind for loot boxes or buy your way to.
And how long did it take to grind for these loot boxes again?
Well, they
In Battlefront
aren't
2?
they
I heard it
aren't
took
actually
quite a
gonna do
while.
that, but they
Yeah.
were trying to.
They're
I heard like it
they
was
still
some
have it.
absurd amount.
It's not like it's gone. So if you watch, Angry Joe just released a video, and I thought you would pick us up because I thought you watched it, Bailey. Angry Joe just released a video. It's a good watch. I would recommend it. It's actually him talking to a DICE developer who's working on Star Wars.
Alright.
And they were talking about loot boxes and the changes they're making. And the guy said, and I've never thought about this before, and he has a point. I think it could be done differently, but he has a point. That a part of why they like the loot boxes, and they might be totally bullshitting on this and just coming up with a reason for loot boxes, but the reason was that it allowed it when there's a direct progression, like in Battlefield or in Call of Duty, where you progress a class, then it ends up meaning that the player only really plays a couple classes
Right.
because they just don't want to progress the other
I
ones.
definitely fall into that trap. Only medic, always medic.
Exactly. So what they said is by having loot boxes, it means, and by having kind of a random progression, but so it ends up spreading out your progression into multiple areas.
So you'd be unlocking weapons in different classes?
Exactly,
or-
and it would incentivize. So now you have these star cards for these classes that you don't really use, and what they're hoping is it incentivizes words.
Yeah.
A player to I speak English, not alien. It incentivizes a player to play a loadout class, whatever, that they haven't played before, and by doing that, they're hoping.
How many classes are there though?
I don't know. Mason, you tell me.
There were 4. I
Okay.
think there's
So
4
out of
classes,
four
and then
out of-
the specialists like Han Solo or Luke or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Okay. The special characters.
But then I guess there's different game types. There's stuff for the ships and stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah. So, I mean, you get what I'm saying here. That by having loot box progression, people are more likely to play different classes, and they said that by doing that, it also increases people's playtime, which they want. They want people to
that's
play
so-
their game.
Why would it increase game
Well,
time?
because if you only work on one class, then you can finish
Get
that
bored.
class, and then you're not gonna go into the other ones. But if they kind of force you into all the other classes, then it basically quadruples your playtime.
Right.
What if I just wanted to play the sniper class?
Well,
then?
Well,
then
you could
fuck no.
you could still focus
That's-
on it, but
Right. So that's what they just changed, was that now you can still focus on the for example the sniper class if you so choose to, with some amount of loot box progression still.
I mean, I just don't really see that point when there's 4 classes and gamers really put, if the game's good enough, countless hours into a game. I don't really see why.
Well, the thing
And-
is, most
And
people
starter
don't.
weapons aren't even that bad.
Right. Well, the thing is, most people don't. Most people don't play games as often as us three. Like, especially, and I'm sure you're thinking of like Battlefield. We've put pretty insane amount of hours into Battlefield.
Yeah.
But that's a game we love. They want the casual people. That's where their money is coming from. Well,
I don't know any casual gamers.
They exist. They exist.
Well, yeah, there's the
I run
people,
into them all the time.
There's the people that just want to like finish, like get all the guns or whatever, and then this system is gonna make them take longer to get all those guns, or I mean, like not necessarily longer, but it will make them not just look into one of the classes. It'll broaden their horizons.
Okay.
Right. By the way, just because of how time is running, we might go into one other topic, but for the most part, I think we'll let the other ones go into another podcast.
Alrighty.
All right. By the way, how do you guys feel about these on Friday? Are you guys open Fridays typically?
Yeah, I don't have it. Well, actually, next semester I might have a different schedule, but currently I don't have any classes on Friday, so.
Cool.
I mean, I'm usually free on Fridays, I believe.
All right, and we can always change it if we need to.
Yeah.
I actually just got hired at Levi's over in Santa Monica.
Look at you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They give you free pants?
I get like pants.
Wait,
really?
seriously? Do you get free pants?
Yeah, I get pants.
Wow, pants are actually pretty
Like how
expensive.
many?
I haven't worked there yet. Let's not tell I don't want to like show up, get fired on my first day, and be like, oh, well.
What, can I
Shows
still
up
get my
without pants. I could have sworn you guys said I got free pants, so I could wear them today.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna say too much. But
Hey, where are those free pants
it
at?
looks fun, right? It's at if you've been there, it's at 3rd Street Promenade, and at Santa Monica. It's a really upscale shopping area, really upscale.
That's nice.
It's nice. Anyway, so will you get Battlefront 2?
Ooh. Maybe. I mean, the way I play games, it's mainly when other people also have the game.
Right.
I don't tend to play games on my
is
own.
the game good enough is the question.
Yeah.
It was really
Good
fun.
enough.
Lucas and I had a good time playing it.
Okay.
I forget if he's planning. Wait, did he pre-order it?
Yeah, he was gonna pre-order it.
Okay, so yeah, Lucas pre-ordered it.
Don't pre-order games.
Yeah, I know.
I say, as I pre-order.
You get to play it, what, 5 days early? Or no?
I get an excuse. I have
4
a
days.
YouTube channel.
Yeah, you have to pre-order it.
Actually, though, I have
Um,
to strike while the iron's hot.
mhm.
God, this chocolate's addicting. All right, I'm gonna stop. Stop eating chocolate.
Okay, so anyway, I might get it. Again, I only play with other people, so it was a lot of fun. I think I'll wait a bit to see how it goes, to see like how many maps they actually have on launch and whatnot, because on the beta it was there were 2 maps as like soldiers, and then there was 1 spaceship map. So
How was the spaceship combat?
it
by the
was
way? Was it like,
okay, so flying in the first Battlefront was a nightmare.
Right. It
I
was simple as hell.
I
and
never
was
got
stupid.
I never got the hold of it. It was like you had to slow down
'cause it
to
was
shoot.
oversimplified.
It was
Yeah.
weird, and the controls were a mess. I didn't enjoy it. However, the flying in the second one was so good. It was just good.
If I remember correctly, they actually brought in another team for this.
Okay.
Because of the complaints they were getting, they're like, okay, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, flying was a mess in the first one.
Yeah, which is weird because it's dice.
I thought I was a terrible pilot when I first tried out the first one, so I just gave it up. And I mean, I never played the first one. I kind of just gave up on it because.
So I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I'm generally a pretty good pilot at games. So I quickly got a hold of it.
Yeah.
What I found out is the reason why it's so hard is not actually because it's hard. It's stupid simple. problem is there's no customization. There's like to turn there was one control stick for yaw, pitch, everything.
Yeah.
Everything was on one control stick, and speed was uncontrollable. You just went or you didn't go. And you used one control stick, and your chip more or less automatically went, okay, how best do I perform this? It would do the yaw and pitch. But you just use your control stick to go, do I want to go up, down, or to the side? And because it was third person, it did the tilting of your ship for you. So that's what it was previously. Has that changed in Battlefront 2? Is it still... okay.
Now you're like, I guess your perspective is fixed into one plane, right? And then you actually are controlling how it rolls and the speed and everything.
Okay.
And
wait, it's on one plane?
I'm just saying that, well, not exactly, but you... Ah, jeez, how do I put this into words? You're falling behind the ship. I think you can go into first person. Yeah, you can. You're falling behind the ship.
New.
Yeah, you can go into the cockpit.
Oh, nice. That's sweet, actually. I've always wanted that. That's great that they're finally doing that.
I forget if you can look around
continue.
or not within the cockpit. I think you can. Again, I didn't spend a lot of time on it. But,
right.
But yeah, so you're falling behind the ship, and so I think there's 3 different views. There's behind the ship, close, behind the ship, far, and in the cockpit. Okay. And so, like when the ship rolls, your perspective rolls along with it. So it wouldn't like do a barrel roll while the camera stays like fixed or something. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely like you have to play it to understand.
But it was just better. Maybe I didn't put enough time into trying to learn to fly in the first one. But maybe this was just more familiar or something.
Right. I mean, we're used to dual stick controls. We're used to like having to adjust for. We like the amount of control we have in games like Battlefield.
Maybe that's what it was.
Really any other game.
I would try to control how it would do something, and then it would just like freaking
be like, no, you don't.
I'd instantly crash. That's what would happen.
Right. Exactly. That's kind of what it was. So I'm glad. So they've changed that.
Yeah.
All right, back to would we buy it? I mean, I'm gonna get it at least through GameFly just for the channel. I probably wouldn't if I was just a consumer though. Like my recommendation for people, hold off. You know, we don't know.
Yeah.
Battlefront 1 was fun, but it's definitely a game I would have preferred renting over owning. Just with the amount of I mean, I did play it for a while. I'll grant them that, but it definitely died off.
That's the thing. It like the interest kind of just died.
Yeah.
I think there wasn't enough with like the default content.
Right.
Like you had to get the season pass for it to be like worthy of playing.
And now
again.
DLC's all free.
Oh, for Battlefield 1?
Yeah, for Battlefront 2.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's the trade-off we get. Star cards, but free DLC.
I think that might sway me.
You actually get the full
I mean,
content.
the original Battlefront, you didn't have to unlock anything, right? It was just classes.
Yeah.
I
don't think you had to unlock things.
I don't.
You unlocked throughout the game.
Well, yeah,
what
it wasn't. You would unlock it. It does the same thing. Okay, so like ignoring the new guns and stuff, because the original one you'd have the same guns no matter what. In the new one, so it plays out the same. You start with the 4 classes, And then when you get kills and stuff, you earn points that you can use to you use for the specialists. So it's like, you know, when you're playing, it would go, Yoda is available, and you're like, sweet, I'm gonna play Yoda now. It's not exactly the same, because that would pull you out of your character to, like, you would still be alive, and then it's like, do you want to play this guy now? It's like, oh yeah, and then you respawn as that one. Now in the new one, when you've earned points and then you get killed or whatever, and then you're like, oh, I have this many points now, I can spawn in as this better class.
So it's like we need like names for, like, because I keep getting confused as to whether you're talking about the original Battlefront 1 new or original Battlefront.
Oh jeez.
So original Battlefront, we're gonna call Battlefront 2 the old game, original Battlefront.
Okay.
And then Battlefront 1, which is the more recent one, and then Battlefront 2, which is coming.
Okay.
Okay, so you're saying it's like Battlefront. It's not like Battlefront 1, where you were like, you'd be playing and then you'd hit the little specialization thing and then boop, you'd pulled out. And...
In Battlefront 1, you'd like walk up to that thing, right?
Right.
No, it's not like that.
Does it still have that for vehicles, by the way? Did it have
Let's
vehicles in the infantry maps? Were there vehicles that you could get?
It worked the same way. You'd earn points and then you could spawn in a vehicle.
Once you like respawn.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Finally know what they're doing.
Yeah. So you wouldn't like sit at a area of the map and wait for the thing to show up so that you can steal it. No, it's you put in work.
You have to play the game.
You have to actually play the game so that you can unlock these classes or specialists or vehicles or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And how long does that usually take to get X amount of points? Do you think to get,
it depends on your the kills you get or the objective points you get. So for instance, like the first round I played, I was messing around. I got a couple kills. I don't know, maybe like 10 kills, let's say. And then I respawned. And I was like, oh, I can play as the rocket trooper or whatever. And then so I switched to him. He's way more powerful, of course. He has a jetpack and he could fly around. And I played as that character for a really long time after that because he was a lot better. He was stronger. And I was able to earn a lot more points. Oh, and that's the other thing. Once you've earned enough points to get a specialist or whatever, then you play as them and you tend to get more points. So then once you die, you can then once again get one of the special classes.
Right.
And even if you don't, like there are some instances when I would spawn as the
not have enough points.
No, I'd spawn as the trooper, but then something would happen and I'd like be instantly killed. Now, normally you'd be like, well, I just wasted all my points.
Right.
However, it gives you back a good amount of points when you die as a special class. So like it cost, say, 1,000 points, and then it gave me back 200 or something.
Oh,
I think something like that. It was a little while ago.
Okay, so they're clearly improving on the design.
Definitely.
This definitely makes me want to play it more. Now that it's a little closer to a traditional shooter, I understand if they aren't bullshitting us. It's possible they're just 100% loot boxes for money. And I mean, it is for money. Obviously, it's not 100%. No, we want wild. We want random progression.
Yeah.
They want money.
Of course.
I mean, they have free DLC, so they have to. But I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here, just a little bit. I think they do want people to try different classes. That sounds like a genuine thing they want, not just something like a EA official was like, okay, we have to talk about the previous issue. One of you guys come up with an excuse. I think it is, and even if it isn't what they legitimately think, it is an interesting point that I haven't thought of before. I will still say, for people listening to this podcast, don't pre-order. I mean, I don't want people to pre-order.
Just as a general rule, you shouldn't pre-order.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Multiplayer games are a little more understandable. It's fun, especially MMOs. I always pick up, like, if I'm getting an MMO, I generally want to pick it up as it comes out. I find I'm a little more entrenched that way. Like, I definitely enjoyed Destiny more because I got it early.
Okay.
And you're leveling up with everyone else, and it feels a little... It feels less like you're the little guy when you do that. It feels like you're part of that initial front. And if someone's higher level than you, you have a little more respect for them. Like, they have been playing more than you in that same expanse of time. I enjoy it.
Okay.
That said, the EA's been tricky. It's EA. Battlefront 1 definitely had some disappointments. Yeah. I think there still will definitely be a player base. If you wait like a couple weeks, you'll know if they have issues that would make you not pick up the game. Wait at minimum a week would be my recommendation. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
a week?
I'd say that's fair.
Yeah,
because like by that
people
time,
have played 5 days
by that
straight.
time, there's bound to be tons of gameplay videos and reviews.
Right.
And then, like, you can actually decide. Unlike the 10 out of 10 on IGN or whatever, it's like that doesn't mean anything anymore.
Actually, I've been reading IGN reviews. I still read IGN reviews because of, I might have explained this to you guys before. What I like them for is they're actually very unbiased reviews. They look at a game very wholesomely and just like, but the problem is you need bias for a review. Because they'll give Call of Duty a 10 out of 10 every time. Because if you pretend Call of Duty's never released a game before,
okay,
the next one's gonna be great.
It's like, wow,
you know? I mean, talk about
cool.
content. I mean, honestly, like, they have an insane amount of content, great multiplayers. I mean, really rock solid multiplayer, an amazing campaign. I mean, it's actually kind of phenomenal what they do. They're really good. But we've done it before, like 10 times now.
Again and again and again.
Yeah, we're bored of it. That's why we now play Battlefield or whatever. Lawbreakers failed.
Yeah.
If anyone saw that.
Yeah.
So, oh, timer done. Cancel. All right. So to wrap up, I read IGN reviews when I want someone who hasn't played previous ones and is probably going to be like very straightforward with like, does it have quality in it? Does it have content? Because I mean, they're not. If I'm gonna be honest, I don't think they're just like paid out to do reviews. They'll give a game a bad rep when they want to.
Okay.
That's clear to me. But when you want someone who's a little more critical and has, because the thing is, when you're listening to a real critic's review, they've played so many games before, and they're not gonna give games a pass just because they have content. Like people for example, Total Biscuit did a really good video on this. Critics hated the Mad Max video game.
Oh.
But users really liked it. And he explained that, at least, you know, it's theoretical. It's not 100%, but he's pretty certain. The reason why, it has a lot of repetitive content. It has a lot of content, but a lot of it's repetitive, and we've seen it before. It has Batman's combat system. It has fairly. It has good driving. The driving mechanics are pretty good. Probably the most unique thing. But for the most part, the loot system and the scavenging system and the on-foot combat system was kind of meh. Thing is, for a user that doesn't get tons of games, they only get like maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 games a year. It's got a lot of content. They can play that for a good while, even if it's totally plotting. So to them, it's worth their money. Much like moviegoers like to go see Marvel movies and Transformer movies. Because, yes, we know what it has. It's not going to do anything new. But you're getting your money's worth.
Okay.
And people don't have a lot of money to go see every single movie or play every single game. That said, when you want a more critiqued review and you are looking for something a little more maybe artsy or just with a little more thought into it, that's when you look to a Angry Joe or Total Biscuit and such. Okay. Well, that's our discussion of Battlefront 2. Kind of a start into loot boxes. We might talk more about that during the next podcast.
Oh, we will definitely be talking about loot boxes.
We're also going to talk about we're also going to talk about the new Xbox One X that just released. What do we think of it? I'm probably going to release a video about it, actually. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it be? I should do that. The Xbox One X, what do we think of it? Is it worth buying it? And that kind of brings about the like PC versus console. And then last but not least, EA just bought Respawn Entertainment, who did Titanfall. Too, which is interesting. I don't know. They've been partners because we see EA whenever we load up Titanfall. But they've been partners. EA hasn't owned
Respawn.
Hasn't owned Respawn. Yeah, it's not like 343 and Microsoft. It's been more like I don't know.
Some other partnership.
Other things. Yeah, exactly. Words. So that's it. But these are discussions for another time. You'll have to check it on the next podcast. Again, we have a Patreon. Support it, and you can talk to us during the podcast and get your input in here. Maybe if you want to veer the conversation in your direction, you're always welcome to try and do that. All right. I believe that's everything. We got anything else?
You want to give them a link to your Patreon?
It'll be in the description.
All right. Well, you can look down there. There it is.
Yeah. And if not, just look up Zamix on Patreon, which I believe patreon.com. Yeah, www.patreon.com. It's spelled Patreon. Patreon is how it looks. And maybe that's how it's supposed to be said. I'm not sure. www.
Patreon.
Because I know it's a playoff of the word patron, right?
Yes.
www.patreon.com/Zamics. ZAMICS. Coming next time. join next time. That's how you do it. It's only $1 a month, and you get to talk to us. Come on, guys. Just need money for games for this channel.
Please.
Please.
Only get free pads.
Right? I mean, honestly, like if I'm paid for it, it means I want to put more into it. Oh, I totally hit the microphone. I want to put more into it, and I have games to do,
sound effects,
and I can afford to get more games and talk about more. So it's just the start of something. I'm only asking for $1. If you can spare $1 a month, $12 in your entire year, please.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know about $12.
I don't know. Don't we have some DLCs though that aren't just $12 for one?
Yeah, they have other things to be spending those $12 on.
Does anyone even buy individual DLC now, or is it just season pass?
Yeah, honestly.
Most people that are going to get DLC just get the season pass anyway, and so
yeah,
individual DLC.
I think yeah.
I kind of wish I did that for Ghost Recon Wildlands actually.
Oh.
The season pass.
Yeah. Or no, I got a season pass for it, but I wish the first DLC was really bad, and there's only been 2 DLCs, so I kind of wish I just spent money on the other DLC. Okay.
The last time I bought individual DLC was World at War.
We're at 59 minutes and 58 seconds, though we spent like a minute prior to the video won't say meh. I'm gonna edit it, so it's not actually that long.
Gonna edit the hell out of it.
I'm not gonna edit the hell out of it. Might be a little bit longer, might be a little bit shorter.
Add some
Alright.
voice effects.
I might add some music.
Okay.
Might I don't know what I'll do. Music. I'm probably gonna do a background video of Battlefield 1. I'm thinking just record me playing Battlefield 1 for an incessant amount of time.
Alrighty.
All right, that's all. Was good talking to you guys. We'll see you all in the next podcast. Have a good one. All right, stop the recording.
No. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't never ever stop. Don't you export, we're not done.